Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker, and I'm always branching out, encouraging you to branch out as well. Try new teas, explore, new styles, taste new teas. Go on an adventure. Maybe you'll find something you don't like, but maybe you'll come across something that you wondered how you lived without before. We've got something new, or probably new to several people, and that's a yellow tea. Have you ever had a yellow tea before? But we're going to go ahead and get this tea started and talk a little bit about what is a yellow tea. Yellow teas are usually Chinese. I can't say that I've ever seen a yellow tea from any other location. And yellow teas are different, go through a slightly different process from a green tea. They have a lot of similarities with green teas, but then they go through what's called a smothering process. So we're going to be using traditional Chinese style preparation equipment here, the gaiwan, which is used for kung fu or gong fu style preparation. I'm going to scoop out just enough here that I'm going to cover the bottom of surface of my, so that I've got like a, looking at this, it's about a 4-ounce gaiwan, and I've got about 2 inches of the bottom diameter of this soft cup here, covered with leaf. My water's been brought to a boil, but it's been cooling for a little over a minute, so it's in the 180 to 200 range. I'm not a extreme strict stickler for water temperatures. Higher water temperatures generally bring out more of the subtleties, the strengths and the weaknesses of the tea. But going back to what is a yellow tea, yellow teas are, like I said, very similar to green teas, but they go through this what's often called a smothering process. And the smothering process, there's either steam and heat involved, where the tea is just kind of covered over for a while, sometimes hours, can be days, depending on the situation, I guess. And that smothering process causes those teas to release their aromatics and other release components of the tea, and then kind of reabsorb that. So it can intensify some of that process as those teas breathe in that smothered atmosphere. So this tea, let's talk about this tea and kind of introduce it as well. This is, like I said, a yellow tea, is from Canton Tea Company. It is their MengDingHuangYa. Huangya means yellow sprout, so alludes to the yellow tea name there. This is, you can get 10 grams, this is a UK company, 10 grams for $5.56. Now, you may be thinking, okay, UK, out of the country, if you're here in the US, excess shipping charges or high shipping charges. Not necessarily. Go and check them out. In some cases, it can be as around $3 to $4 for shipping. So not out of the range of domestic shipping charges. So check that out, as I said. MengDingHuangYa traditionally comes from Mengshan, Meng Mountain in Sichuan province, and that's the origin of this one as well. This tea was harvested pre-Qingming, which is Qingming Festival is April 5th, and that was in 2010, this year. So this is a very early spring tea for 2010. Okay. So we've got it steeping here. Before I get too far ahead, I'm actually pretty happy with the color and notes of this tea. So I may go ahead and just pour this now, and then come back and talk a little bit about the dry leaf. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get out my towel here, set that out. Pitchers are great for looking at color, and ideal if you're serving more than one cup, more than one person, because you'll find that the top of your liquor coming off of your cup here, your gaiwan, or even your teapot, will be thinner and lighter and weaker, while the bottom will be much stronger, and you want to balance that out. You want to let that kind of mix. So we're going to pour. Yeah, we're losing a few leaves, but that's okay, because we can, those will settle down to the bottom, and we're probably not going to get those if we pour slowly and smoothly. Okay, so let's just set that there, get that out of the way for a moment. talk about this dry leaf before we get too far ahead and before that cools too much. Teas like this, or yellow teas that I've tasted, often have a kind of it's a starchy green sweetness, and some people will associate this with how should I say, bean sprouts, like a soybean type bean sprout. On the other people will say this is a bamboo, kind of a starchy green bamboo type of smell. Somewhere in that range, I can say yes to both of those. That's the dominant aroma. Like I said, it's sweet. It's got this starchy kind of indication to it. And when you look at these leaves, you'll see that they're needles. I've actually had green teas that look like this similar shape. They're needles that have been pressed flat, as if they have been pan seared, so that they are smooth. They feel crisp. They feel fairly dense and brittle as well. Not necessarily brittle, but they feel very dry. Like there's a good. They snap apart pretty quickly, pretty easily, pretty cleanly, I should say. They've got a nice gloss to them. I mean, these are not fuzzy green. These are kind of an olive drab, leaning over a little bit more towards the yellow in color. Like I said, they've got a nice sheen. You don't see a lot of fuzz on these needles, these tips. Yeah, well, needles would be the better term. Flat pressed needles. Yeah, they are, I should say, half an inch or so in length, and this is typical of other Sichuan style. I'm thinking about Zhuyeqing, bamboo leaf type, and some of those have similar colors, aromas, and shapes. So, that being said, we can kind of move on. Let me set this over here. Kind of move on and talk a little bit about this wet leaf before the liquor cools too much. Again, this time you're getting a little bit of the heat notes combined with that bamboo, that bean sprout. So if you had some stir-fried bean sprout, there's some of that heat coming off. You're noticing some of the heat, the searing aspect. That this has gone through a pan type searing process here, and so there's kind of a stir-fry type note to this. The leaves have opened up, or the needles, I should say, and you can actually kind of peel layers apart here. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pull that one apart to show, yes, there's newly formed, or leaves that I should say are about to kind of open up and spread out and stand on their own, coming off of these needles. Let's go ahead and pull off just one more to show that these are, it's interesting to pull them apart and look at the layers. It's just new leaf after new leaf after new leaf. Okay, now let me get one I'm just going to put one that is not, I'm not going to pull it apart, just to kind of show how those needles look after they have been steeped and exposed to the water and loosened up some, gone through the agony of the leaf. So that's there. Set that aside. Now we can get to our liquor so that it hasn't cooled off too much. You can see a pale yellow, or say a yellow color, getting over towards a more deeper, richer yellow in its color. So it's got even more of a, closer to a honey. I mean, it's getting a little bit more of that kind of a brown tinge to it. Still some of the like I said, the soybean, bean sprout, a little bit of the bamboo. It's of course lighter in the liquor, especially now that it's cooled off a little bit. Let's give it a try here. One more shot. I'm deciding if this is more bamboo. My reaction is yes, green, fresher bamboo sprouts. That's what the kind of taste that I'm getting here. You're getting this little something starchy. You could label that a little bit of water chestnut in there as well. The other thing I'm noticing is it's got somewhat of an astringent bite to it. It does feel, especially towards the back portion of the tongue, it just kind of activates, stimulates that area, makes it feel, it's as if there's little hairs standing on end on the back of your tongue because they're reacting to this, all the water just getting sucked away from them, which it stimulates. I mean, it's kind of an awakening feeling in your mouth, not fully negative by any means. The aftertaste is also a little bit savory. I'm still getting this. It's lighter. It's not pooling in flavor in the back of the mouth. It's just kind of lingering somewhat on the roof of my mouth, a little bit on the middle to front of my tongue. It's just kind of a savory stir-fried soybean sprout type of taste. The mouthfeel, as far as green teas go, it has slightly lighter than some. As it's cooled now even a little bit more, the sweet aspects of it, the sweet bamboo, the sweet fresh bamboo, vegetable type notes are standing out more and more. So when I look at this tea as a whole, as a yellow tea, as a MengDingHuangYa, I would give this tea probably I'd give it a 90. It's got good, clear, positive characteristics. It's got those notes in it that you look for if you've had this before. It's got those like we said, the bamboo, the bean sprout type of notes. It's fairly smooth. The aftertaste is light, but yet somewhat relatively lasting for this kind of tea. The astringency is there. It could have, and it is mellowing out as this tea cools. So that is, it's there, but I could say it fades as the tea cools. So that's a positive aspect as well. So that's why it's always great to kind of branch out, get new tea experiences, play with your tea, play around with it, expose yourself to it with in different temperatures, variations in strength and steeping time. All those things can really bring out new adventures really with your tea. So come back and join us next time at Walker Tea Review.